We'll straighten up when Gina's around.
Been through those.
All right, we're getting close.
All over. I heard that.
I think we're just gonna do 3 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Here. I don't think I have it. Yeah, it's working. He said he had a little clock.
Everybody ready? Good evening, and welcome to our February the 10th, 2025 meeting. We're going to call our meeting to order, but first of all, I would like to mention that we do have sign-up sheets out in the hallway. One is for public hearing regarding the Stroop property, and the other is for public comment. So if you wish to speak, please sign up on those sheets outside. So our invocation tonight is going to be by Pastor Kara Stewart from the Good Shepherd Lutheran Church. Thank you for being here. Followed by a Pledge of Allegiance by Boy Scout Troop 59. If you would, please stand with me.
Let us pray. Holy God, we praise you for your goodness, your generosity, your grace. We thank you for creating us to live in community with one another and for giving us gifts and talents to use for the common good. Direct our thoughts and actions this night, that the deliberations and decisions made here would further your reign of mercy and love. Bless our leaders with the wisdom and courage to care for the most vulnerable, and bless us all with compassion and kindness, that we might create a community where all can flourish. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Color guard advance. Color guard post the colors. Salute. Pledge.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, fine folks of Mount Holly, good evening. Tonight, love is in the air. Valentine's Day is coming up, gentlemen. Don't forget to get your spouses that Valentine's Day present. You won't stay out of the doghouse. With that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to, since it is the month of love, show a little love to your neighbor. Reach out to that neighbor that might need that extra helping hand, and show a little love to your neighbor. And let's show what this community really stands for, and spread love around this month. Thank you very much.
You may be seated. Okay, at this time, we're going to set the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the agenda. Mr. Meadows, and second by Ms. Shoemaker. All in favor? We approve the agenda. We have 6 items on the consent agenda. 7 items on the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve that. Ms. Harris and Mr. Reeves, all in favor? The consent agenda has been approved. presentations. So we're going to do swearing in of fire training Captain Kevin Banyard and firefighter Brandon Klingerman. So if I could have council meet me on the floor.
Mayor, City Council, citizens of Mount Holly. My name is Fire Chief Ryan Baker. Today, or this evening, we're going to be doing two swearing-in ceremonies. The first one is going to be Brandon Klingerman. Brandon, if you will come forward. Brandon has finished his probationary period with the department, and so we're excited to have him with us. One of the questions I asked him was, why did you get in the fire service? So he told me that, I'm not going to go word for word, but he did tell me when he was little, he used to go to Pinewood Elementary School, and he would bring his fire trucks to school with him. And then also, he grew up with his father, who was also a Mount Holly firefighter at one time with us, and also a captain with our department, Kyle Klingerman. He will be pinning him this evening. So it's an honor. I've known Brandon ever since he was born. So it's really cool to see him grow up in our community, and I know he played sports here in Mount Holly as well. So, Mr. Mayor. Yes, sir. Sorry.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and the state of North Carolina against all enemies, both foreign and domestic, and you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as firefighter of the City of Mount Holly Fire Department under the appointment of the City of Mount Holly to the laws of the North Carolina to the best of your skills and abilities, so help you God. Congratulations.
And his dad is going to be pinning him. Just want to add one more thing. The badges that we pin on our firefighters are synonymous to the Mount Holly Fire Department. That badge is identical to the one that initially was given in our department back in 1914 when we started. There's also a number on that badge that will follow Brandon throughout his career with us. Captain Boehnert, if you'll come forward. So Captain Boehnert is being promoted to training captain for our department. As our department has grown, we've seen a huge need, obviously, to have someone that is overtraining Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And our department has done an amazing job this past year. We had over 8,900 hours of training as a department. And so Kevin is filling the shoes from Battalion Chief Justin Westbrook, who was recently promoted as well. So Captain Boehnert went through a process where he competed. He was given a topic to teach the battalion chiefs and the chiefs of the department. He did an amazing job with that. We were very well impressed, even to the point where he reached out to other departments in the city to get information. So he did a very thorough job. So Kevin started his career in 2005 with the Bessemer City Fire Department. He was there for 3 years until he got married to his wife, Tiffany, who is going to be here pinning him tonight, where since in 2008 he's been a volunteer at Union Road as well. So we're lucky to have Kevin. Looking forward to everything that he's going to help our department going forward.
All right, Kevin. Do you solemnly swear that Welcome to the family, gentlemen. All right. Moving on, we're going to do a consideration and approval of the works that will be installed in the outdoor gallery. Mr. Paul Lowe.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. So this one's a little bit straightforward than some of the other projects that we have. This is going to be changed out the art that's in the pergola outside of City Hall. It's going to be changed out in April, and the art was generated from the Plein Air event that's held annually. So these are the 6 works that are going to be changed out in April, and then after they're changed out, then we'll have a ribbon cutting like we did last year. And as you're looking at these, the PAC voted to recommend approval of these works, and staff also recommends approval, and I can answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Lowe? No? All right. I have a motion by Mr. Meadows for approval, second by Ms. Shoemaker. All in favor? The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to go into our public hearing right now. We're going to talk about the consideration of a proposed. Sure. We're going to take a 5-minute break, so all the families can get out. From the. Already left. Yeah. Well, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Well, I looked at that, but I'm like, I said, if we can get through the public hearing. Yeah, that's for the unscheduled. So he's on here twice. Yeah.
Kindred spirits. Powerful.
So we got the wastewater treatment plant.
Oh, the fireman cleared out.
So the property is part of the.
Good stuff. Good luck. I'm sure.
Yeah, like right here. A little more. Okay, Billy Rick. We're missing everybody here except for our city manager. Well, he's gonna kick it off. Okay, we're gonna get ready to start our public hearing. First of all, before we go into our, do we need to go into that first?
We can.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor,
I need a motion to go into our public hearing. Ms. Harris, second by Mr. Huff. All in favor? Motion passes. We are now in our public hearing. Mr. Blanton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are going to be having a public hearing for the purposes of discussing whether the city should enter into an installment purchase contract with Dean Stroop. If you guys will recall, a lot of you were here 6 months ago when I gave this same presentation about whether we should enter into this agreement. It's required under North Carolina General Statutes. I want to talk a little bit about the process. I want to talk a little bit about the project because I have received a lot of inquiries, as I'm sure the council has as well, about exactly what we're doing here and why this is necessary. So I want to get started by sharing a timeline of how we got to where we are tonight. We're talking about two contracts, one being for the sale of 120 East Central Avenue and a second contract for 128 through 140 East Central Avenue. So in February of 2024, council unanimously approved these two contracts and had a six-month period of which we went through the examination process. We got towards the end of that 6 months, and council voted to extend the examination period for another 6 months from August until March 2nd, 2025. So we voted to purchase the contracts in February. We moved forward with executing those agreements. August 26th, as I said, we voted to extend that examination period, and we are set to close on these properties on March the 25th, 2025. So the question before the council tonight is whether the city wishes to finance the purchase of these properties. This is an option that the Stroops presented to us 6-8 months ago, where we would purchase, or we would eventually purchase the properties, but we would finance them over a 2-year period at a 6% interest rate, which would equate to approximately $174,000. So we are in the public hearing tonight. As you guys can see, this is the property on East Central that is in question. The particular terms of the agreement are as follows, and this is just an overview where we were required to give a notice of public hearing. This ran on the Gaston Gazette January 30th, 2025, saying that we would be discussing this tonight and giving the public an opportunity to discuss. So the terms of the agreement are as follows. We're looking at a purchase price of $3,143,000. We paid $50,000 in September, so it would be less that $50,000. We would put $200,000 down at the time that we enter into this agreement, leaving a balance of $2,893,000. We would accrue $173,580, and that would put us at a grand total of $3,066,588. $80. So this is an option that the council has before them tonight. We can enter into this agreement following the public hearing. We can not accept the terms of these offers. We can discuss. The public is, of course, welcome to comment on this matter. This would be under North Carolina General Statute 160A-20 that this would be allowed under. That gives us the statutory authority to enter into this agreement. And just to put this into context tonight, guys, everything in yellow is land that the city owns. We currently have all of that under our control, under our ownership. This entire project was to move forward with the advancement of the Veterans Park expansion. What we're looking at tonight is most of the properties that are labeled in blue. The orange properties we do not own. And for context, the far right property are the apartments here on Highland, and to the far left is the Presbyterian Church. So we own everything in yellow, and we're looking at the possibility of purchasing these, or looking at the possibility of financing the properties that are in blue. I do want to reiterate several points here tonight because I've received lots of questions. There's been lots of concerns surrounding this project, so I did want to make just a few quick points. First, there has been no vote on this installment loan, nor is the city in any financing purchasing agreement for any of these properties. The city has these under contract. If the council does not take action, we will move forward with the examination period ending on March 2nd, and then, of course, we would move forward with the closing of those properties on March the 25th. All of these properties have been acquired by the city in open session, all of which are reflected in the open session meeting minutes. All of these agreements are a matter of public record. I've shared them with many of you that are here tonight, and I'm glad to walk through any of the details of those agreements. And as I previously stated, the examination period will end March 2nd. Without any formal action of council, we will move forward with closing on these properties in blue. The city continues to do our due diligence on this project. Truthfully, we are not where we thought we would be a year ago. The thought process was that we would work towards acquiring these properties. We would have a developmental agreement with a developer who would in turn purchase these properties. We, of course, issued the RFP that did not yield any responses last summer. We issued the RFQ, which did yield one response, which showed that the project that we were looking for was possible. It was not what we originally looked at in the plans, the renderings that were presented, but there had been some interest in the private sector. We continued to work with those partners in the private sector. There is a lot of uncertainty surrounding the developmental agreement because we have to settle on the matter of these properties in blue. And I do respect and appreciate that a lot of people have asked about the Phase 1 environmental tests that need to be done. The thought process was at the time that once we got to the point where we closed on these properties, we would immediately enter into an agreement with the developer. They would be responsible for those costs. Given the known uses of the property, the risk was nominal. But over the past few weeks and even today, I have talked to several people. I have a contractor that is prepared to move forward with a Phase 1 environmental study. He's saying that he can have that done within 2 weeks. If he has notice by tomorrow, so that would put us at the 28th. If there's no objection from council, we will move forward with that just in order to demonstrate that we are taking good faith efforts on this property. Certainly, it is not legally required by federal or state statute, but given the uniqueness of this transaction and where we are currently, we are looking at the option of moving forward with getting that so that you can have that information at your retreat, which will be here on February the 28th. So I would note that this is just an option for the council to consider tonight. We have other ways to finance the acquisition of these properties. We also have different funding streams that we are utilizing, that we are evaluating in order to move forward with potentially building the park project. All of this will be presented in detail at the February 28th retreat, but I am happy to answer any questions that council may have tonight. But again, we are in a public hearing for the option to consider this financing agreement with the Stroops.
Council, any questions? No? I do want to make one little statement here as far as our advantages for buying this property. Increased tax value for downtown, additional revenue and foot traffic for merchants. Disadvantages: the Stroop and Sisk properties cost $3.4 million. Only one developer interested and no development agreement in place. City does not control the Happy Shack and the block building beside of that. Parking concerns and no traffic impact analysis conducted, which is between $40,000 and $50,000. We talked about the environmental study. That has not been done yet. 250 units needed to be profitable. Original plan called for 138 units. There is a gap of $8 to $15 million in costs based on the original plan by McAdams. Timing is a problem because the property is set to close in March. As mentioned earlier, there's $174,000 in financing if we do the interest, if we go through the financing process. So that's just a couple things. So this time I'm going to call, during our public hearing, Mr. Rodney Williams to the podium.
Rodney Williams, 315 South Main Street, Mount Holly. I've got many concerns about the property purchase you plan to vote on tonight, but I just want to address one. And that's going to be, you have not done the Phase 1 environmental study that Mr. Blanton talked about. They're standard practice for commercial properties. They're not expensive. They provide liability protection under federal law. If you choose not to do the Phase 1 study, the city will assume full responsibility for any hazards discovered, and you will not qualify for Superfund help from the EPA. It's like $2,000 for an unlimited amount of insurance. Without a Phase 1 study, you're going to expose the citizens to a significant liability at taxpayer expense. I personally remember an automotive supply house. They sold paint, solvents, and batteries on that property. That alone should cause you to do a Phase 1 study. You're in the process of selling 131 South Main because of asbestos concerns, but you plan to buy 5 buildings without any inspections. I would question your logic. Council has been in due diligence for 1 year and not done a Phase 1 study. I ask you not to vote tonight to purchase this property as is with no environmental study and expose the taxpayers to liability that could cost millions of dollars to remediate. You have very qualified individuals that you pay to advise you, and your city attorney and your city manager. I would suggest the least you can do is ask for their input as far as purchasing commercial property with no environmental studies. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Next up is Mr. Gary Brinkley.
Good evening. My name is Gary Brinkley. I live at 176 Tom Sawyer Lane here in Mount Holly. A few years ago, voters voted no for bonds to expand the Greenway and enlarge Veterans Park. Many, including some members of this council, say that the voters did not want their taxes to be increased, and that's why the bonds were defeated. We really don't know because there was no survey of the voters taken at that time, so we don't really know why they voted no, but common belief is that people didn't want increased taxes. If that is true, so why is it now okay to increase taxes by borrowing money to buy this property? If you say taxes will not go up, then that money is coming from opportunity to lower taxes, and that's increased taxes in my book. We ought to be taking advantage of every opportunity to lower taxes and not to increase them. I support those that have asked why has there not been an environmental study Rodney just spoke about, Mr. Blanton spoke about. I'm encouraged to sound that it's now being considered. If we want to be sure that all is well with a $3 million purchase, this would be money well spent, as Rodney just talked about. In fact, it will be far less than money that's already been spent toward this purchase. I also continue to have concerns about this project. No one has addressed the impacts to the schools that are nearby. No one has addressed the parking concerns of how more than 350 cars will be handled. And what about traffic? Will we end up having a traffic light at Central Avenue there at the bypass? Seems likely if you've got a lot of cars that are coming in and out that that's going to be a problem. There will be some accidents there. So to wrap up, to me, enough is enough. There was a movie a few years ago that some of you may remember. It was called Frozen. The most famous song from that movie was called Let It Go. And that's what we need to do, is let it go. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Brinkley. Bob Hendricks. And Mr. Hendricks, you're signed up on both sheets. Are you speaking to the same subject?
Different subject,
Okay, all right, thank you.
different subject. First subject is obviously that is at hand. And I want to be very clear that I think this is a very, very simple case of the cart before the horse. We are supposedly going to be conducting some kind of a vote this evening to the point that's been raised that without an environmental study. At what point does it make sense to cast a vote without the environmental study already having been done? This is not a personal shot at anyone. I promise you that. But the truth of the matter is, this is not being well thought out. It's not. We are going to be voting on something supposedly this evening that could cost this city beyond its comprehension if, in fact, there is any kind of chemical problem with the property that we're talking about. Why in the world would we get to a point where we cast a vote on something that we don't have enough knowledge on today to cast a vote? And if it is a vote, it's an irresponsible vote. I would suggest that the City Council consider tabling this matter based on what Mr. Blanton had said. It would take a couple of weeks to potentially do this environmental study. Let's postpone things, see what the study comes back with, and if in fact we still think that it's a good idea because it passes muster with everyone, then we go ahead and do that. But at this stage, it just doesn't make sense. That, on top of the fact that was raised just a moment ago, that not long ago, a ballot, or on the ballots, people voted no. That's a very difficult word for some people to utter, yes or no, apparently. So I'm on record that right now, if the city has said no, it is not ours to interpret as to what that no meant. When I grew up, no meant no. And should be no authority here in the city council that overrides the city, the people of this community, when they said no. No means no, particularly before an environmental study. And particularly when we really don't know why the no was the no. I want to thank you for your time and your patience in hearing me out.
Thank you, Mr. Hendricks. Okay, any more comments from the council? Would anyone like to take action on this? All right, we're going to come out of our public hearing and to our regular meeting. I need a motion for that. Ms. Shoemaker and Ms. Harris, all in favor? All right, we're back in our regular meeting. Would anyone like to take action on this? Ms. Shoemaker.
Based on the comments of the people that spoke during public hearing, I'd like to table this till our, keep the public hearing open and table it until our work session, February 20th.
Retreat.
Okay, then not keep it open.
All right, I have a motion by Ms. Shoemaker, a second by Mr. Meadows. All in favor? Okay, the motion passes. We will go a little bit farther into this.
Can I ask a question, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Blanton, do you have the direction you need to get an environmental study done?
Yes, sir, Councilman Huff, as long as there's no objection from council, we will move forward with that. It is geared up, ready to go, and I confirm shortly before the meeting that it is available to be done within the next few weeks.
Ms. Harris.
Do we know how much that's gonna cost?
I do, Ms. Harris. Roughly $3,000, but I can get you that exact number. be $2,250 based on the estimate that was provided by Excel Civil and Environmental Associates.
Council good with that? All right, that's what we'll do. You got your direction?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. All right, we're going to move on to public comment at this time. The first person up is Ms. Kim Webb. If you'll come to the podium and state your name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Kim Webb, and we recently built on a property at 119 Ashley Avenue in Mount Holly, North Carolina. I am the executive director and co-founder of Strong Like AK. We are a nonprofit dedicated to supporting children battling cancer and their families in Gaston County and beyond. Strong Like AK was founded in honor of my son Adam Kincaid, who bravely fought a pediatric cancer battle for 18 months. Adam's battle ended in 2020 at just 16 years old, but his strength, kindness, and legacy continue on and inspire work that we do every day. At Strong Like AK, we are providing financial assistance to families facing the unimaginable. We help with essential bills like rent, mortgage payments, utility, and car expenses so parents can focus on what matters most, their child's fight for their life. We also create lasting memories through our Wishes Granted program and bring moments of joy in the most difficult times. But today, I'm here to share something even bigger, the Strong Like AK House, which is a home away from home for families traveling to Levine Children's Hospital for pediatric cancer treatment. Through the generosity of our community, we have built this home from ground up right here in Mount Holly, North Carolina. As a mother who has lived through this journey, I know firsthand how devastating it is to be told your child has cancer, and then realize you must leave your job, your home, and your support system to access life-saving care. The Strong Like AK House is a way of us easing that burden for families. This 3-bedroom, 2-bath home will provide a free and fully furnished place to stay for families who temporarily must relocate for their child's treatment. It will be a sanctuary of comfort, hope, and healing, allowing parents to focus on what truly matters, their child's well-being. Mount Holly is a community that cares, and we are honored to bring this mission to life here. And we invite you, our neighbors, leaders, and friends, to be a part of our journey, whether it's by spreading awareness, volunteering, or just supporting our initiative. Together, we know that we can make an incredible impact for families facing the hardest battle of their lives right here in Mount Holly, North Carolina. I'm joined here tonight by a group of our board of directors, and we want to extend a formal invitation to our grand opening and ribbon-cutting ceremony on Thursday, March 6th at 5 p.m. The address is 119 Ashley Street, across the street from the Mount Holly Swim and Racquet Club. We would love for you all to join us as we celebrate this milestone here in your city and honor our son Adam's legacy in such a meaningful way. Thank you for your time tonight, your support, and for allowing us to bring this program to life in Mount Holly and provide hope and healing to families who need it most. Thank you, guys.
Can you repeat that time for us on the 6th?
Thursday, March 6th at 5 p.m., 119 Ashley Street in Mount Holly. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Webb. Next on public comment, Mr. Bob Hendricks.
This is, given it's February, it feels a little bit like Groundhog Day. I feel like I just got up here and did something like this a second ago. That said, I want to be clear before I say anything, and I'll try and be as brief as possible. In my words this evening, I have absolutely zero intent to take any shots across the bow about anyone on the city council's personal character. I don't know any of you well enough to be able to do that, nor do I feel like any one of you maybe know me well enough if it were turned around. So please, if for some reason my words strike hard, I don't mean it in a personal way, and I truly mean that for everyone here. But I just wanted to kind of mention we have a number of social media platforms that people use, one of which is Mount Holly Town Talk, North Carolina. And there's been some dialogue back and forth where I feel like, and I had to check in with the boss, my wife, and she told me, she said, yep, I think you were a little rude in some of the things that you wanted to provide feedback on. And so if anyone on this city council was offended or felt attacked by me in any way, I want you to know that I truly 100% offer my sincere apology to you for that. That said, I would caution those from city council who also participate in that forum, or any other forum for that matter, that if for some reason you've got some things that you'd like to provide feedback on, much like I didn't do, I would suggest that we all take some time to sit down, have a discussion, and if we find out that we disagree on some things, then so be it. Mr. Meadows and I happened to meet, maybe 3 weeks ago, Jeff? And I think it was pretty clear that he and I don't agree on a lot of things, potentially. But I still felt like the conversation was very, very healthy, and I want you to know how much I respect and admire and appreciate you having taken the time to sit down and have that discussion with me. The other thing that I would go so far as is that and I realize everybody's got jobs, everybody's got responsibilities, and everybody's got a place to go and a thing to do. But I would encourage you that if at all possible, that when you are sought out for a one-on-one discussion with people, that you do your very best to try and meet with some of those people so that we can get some of the differences that are clearly in the air within the community out on the table, discussed, and a path forward. There was one of the firemen here tonight, had to say some wonderful things about our community, and I believe them all to be true, that we come from...
Mr. Hendricks, I have to cut you off. Your 3 minutes is up.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Next up is Mr. Shannon Williams.
Mayor, council, citizens, I'm Shannon Williams. I live at 178 North Main Street here in Mount Holly. I'm a lifelong resident of Mount Holly, born and raised here, and I speak not only for myself, but all the people that I counsel, pastor, speak to on a daily basis. I want to speak to you about several things, money management being one of them. This Saturday, we are going to be feeding people in this community. We do a lot of outreach with my ministry in church, and there are people that are hurting, they're struggling to pay bills, and so I would like to talk to the council about doing everything in your power to ease the burden upon the citizens here in Mount Holly, from things like taxes, raising taxes, water bills, those things I would like to see you guys look at to help those people. I got a bill in the mail, or a letter in the mail. It says there was possible lead in the pipes that was sent to my house, and then next thing you know, there was a over 12% increase in the water and sewer. There's been a history of increases, and not just little increases with the water. It's been big increases with water and sewer. And so with that being said, I would like to see the council concerned about lowering taxes, lowering rates. And, a 12% increase is pretty big. If I got a 12% in pay increase, that'd be great. But I don't see those kind of money. But also, I would like to see the council work to bring in businesses that are not solely built around alcohol. I feel like the increases in businesses that have been coming to Mount Holly, they're all alcohol. And literally where I live, I could drive 2 or 3 minutes in 4 directions, and the new businesses that are in downtown or vicinity, they all deal with alcohol. And I think that poses a threat to our city. Alcohol brings a lot of immorality, other things of the nature. And I would ask that the city look at some type of business that would actually increase production, employment. And then my last point is, can we please look at not approving more developments in Mount Holly for housing? Our infrastructure is tight. You guys know it. You live here too. Traffic jams and infrastructure in schools. I think we need to take a look at all of these things and not just, more revenue from houses, because we have a heavy burden upon the infrastructure. And I don't think we.
Mr. Williams, thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Next is Kendall Starcher.
My name is Kendall Starcher. I own Catalyst Mercantile. It's one of the many successful businesses in downtown that actually doesn't sell alcohol, just if you're curious. I have with me some...
Kendall, could you state your address, please, for the record?
I own Catalyst Mercantile at 123 South Main Street. We wanted to take a minute mostly to thank the council for all of your work continuing to improve our awesome downtown. We're aware that there's been a lot of contention around the sale of 131 South Main, so we're here to offer our support for the sale process and to ask council to consider the full scope of any offer when selecting the winning bid. The ideal new owner may or may not be the highest bidder from a monetary perspective, but will have the means and plan to get the building up to code as quickly as possible and turn it into a space that will add to the small business landscape of Main Street. We also would like to present you all with 144 signatures of Mount Holly residents, business owners, and patrons who agree with our sentiment that the best option to sell the building may not be the highest dollar offer, and we support the council's right to reject any offer or bid for any reason per the North Carolina upset bid process rules. Thank you for all you do. I realized I am a few copies short, but if you want them, I'm more than happy to pass them around. But just a quick change of plans. You're doing great. Keep going.
Thank you, Ms. Starcher. Okay, now we're going to move into our new business, consideration of a request by Jacob Jordan to approve water utilities as an outside customer to 107 Riverside Drive, Gaston County, tax parcel ID 176293. Mr. Ford.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. So back in December, the city received a request from Mr. Jacob Jordan to extend, the request was for both water and sewer services. Staff reviewed the feasibility and the request for water and sewer extension. And we determined that the extension of the water line will be feasible. However, the sewer extension didn't make financial sense just because of the distance to the closest sewer manhole line. And then I apologize, in your packet, I've got the location wrong. In there, I believe I said Westland Farm and Old Hickory Grove Road. It's nowhere near there. It's actually at the corner of Riverside Drive and Horseshoe Lake Road is where the property is. Mr. Jordan is planning on potentially subdividing this property and adding an additional house to also have city water to it. But before he proceeds any further, we needed to determine if city council would approve the water utilities at the property owner's cost as an outside customer. And Mr. Jordan is in the crowd if you all have any questions or comments for him.
Any questions? Mr. Meadows?
So, I don't know if you'll be able to answer this because you weren't here at the time, but didn't we do this off of Horseshoe Bend Beach recently, right adjacent to Imagery?
Yes, it was, and I can't answer that. I did my due diligence. So at 211 Horseshoe Lake Drive is where it's currently extended, and that is where we will be extending off to go to his property as well. It'll just continue down Horseshoe Lake Drive and then go around the corner to Riverside Drive.
Any other questions or comments? Would Mr. Craig?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor by Mr. Craig, second by Mr. Reeves. All in favor? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Ford.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to go to our city manager report. It's update on offers received for 131 South Main Street. Mr. Blanton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council of the Public, I have several things that I want to share with you guys tonight. First on the consent agenda tonight was a approval of a resolution declaring conveyance of property. This is a 1999 fire truck that we recently retired, and we are going to be donating that truck to the town of Hot Springs in western North Carolina. Hot Springs was devastated by the hurricane, and Helene, Chief Baker, has been working with that department to find ways that we can help with their current needs, and we are very much looking forward to helping our neighbors in the West, and certainly appreciate Council's consideration and approval of moving forward with that conveyance. So thank you, Chief Baker, for that, and we are looking forward to getting that equipment and truck to western North Carolina. Also, we have a lot of exciting projects that are currently underway. If you guys have been down Glendale, you see that we are hard at work with the Ransom Hunter Park. We are set on to be moving forward with getting that completed by the end of the spring, early summer, and looking forward to having a great celebration when we go online with that project. We also have two major projects that are out for bid right now that we will be having meetings about this week. The Dutchman's Creek Bridge, we will have the bid opening at 10 o'clock on Friday. We are very much looking forward to seeing this project come into fruition with connecting additional trails and additional paths here through the city. And we also will be having a bid opening on Thursday for the South Gateway Connector Road. These are two large projects that we've been working on for quite some time now, so we are looking forward to seeing those come online. So certainly an exciting time here in Mount Holly. You guys may have noticed when you came in the Grand Hall that we started installation today for the sound upgrades for the Grand Hall, which will be a welcomed amenity that will be upgraded here that has been on our radar and project list for quite some time. So we are glad to see progress being made on these fronts. I will speak to the 131 South Main Street update. As I spoke about 2 weeks ago, I assured the council and the public that I would bring any updates regarding offers that are received. As of today, we have not received any offers, although we have fielded numerous inquiries. If anything is to change, certainly we'll let council know, and we will certainly make that announcement if and when we do eventually receive some offers that are coming into place. But the listing is live, and I will, of course, bring back any updates as they were received. Lastly, I do want to share a bit of fantastic news. For the second year in a row, our finance department has been awarded the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award by the Government Finance Officers Association. This is a very prestige, well-deserved award that we have been working on numerous years. I'd love to take credit, but this was in the works long before I arrived here. But I'm very proud of our team, proud of the financial stewardship that we have over public funds, and that's been recognized by a national entity, that being the Government Finance Officers Association. So certainly thank you to our finance director, Michelle Wood, her deputy, Becky Condor, and all of our team that works tirelessly to ensure that we are being the best stewards of public funds possible. That is all that I have tonight, Mr. Mayor, but glad to answer any questions or speak to any concerns that your council may have.
Any questions for our city manager?
No. Okay. Great job.
Thank you, Michelle. All right, we're going to go into our closed session. I need a motion for a closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318-11A, 3, and 5. Ms. Shoemaker makes that motion, second by Mr. Craig. All in favor? We're now in closed session.